one of the top experts in the world on sales.
King of collaboration.
He's on the cutting edge, and what he does works.
Timm Bio.
CEO of Gain the Edge.
He is the leader when it comes to sales and conversions.
A sales and business coach to some of the biggest names in the country.
Timm Bio is known as the go-to guy for all things sales.
Hey friends, welcome back to another edition here of the Make More Sales podcast. And I'm really honored to bring this next interview to you. And I'm gonna read a bio, but just so it's the formal bios in there. But first I want to talk about who they are and why this matters so much. Sometimes you meet people in the business space or in life in general that you just come across and they're just the real deal. Everything about them is right on point. And you just want to make sure that you do everything you can to serve well and to serve powerfully and to give and invest in the relationship and to do everything you can to give great results if it's a partnership or a business transaction. And this next interview is somebody who is in that realm. And it has started with, we're all about partnerships here. Leads Made Easy way of doing business. It's about investing in others and serving in others, helping others, going first, and then building having those relationships being built backwards to you. And we have a relationship with a good friend, a dear friend, someone I really respect, named Lee Richter. And it started with that. We've invested in a relationship for a couple of years. And then she brought me in, and Cindy, into an intimate connection with another person named Mark Timm. And Mark Timm is somebody who's just a top tier entrepreneur, somebody who's just awesome, incredible human being who's also stretching himself to live at the high ends of his capacity. And he's partnered with Kevin Harrington, who's the original shark from the Shark Tank and the captain of the infomercial, right? Who's accomplished so much in so many businesses, at $100 million businesses and striving for more. And we were blessed to be able to be brought into their world, and they were connected with the Zig Ziglar Foundation. Both of them were former clients of the late great Zig Ziglar, and they had partnerships in working with the Ziglar Foundation in current day to help generate sales and grow visibility. And they brought us in to work some launches with them and do some campaigns. So we were really blessed to be able to be connected with them and be able to be of value to them and of service, and be able to have people like them growing in our world. And so I want to make sure that I am able to share with you the same experience that we gained with them, by working with them over some time and getting to know them and getting to just really getting to have the benefit of a quality relationship with quality human beings who are also business badass and, well, sharks. So I want to bring that to you here. I'm going to give you a quick intro on the bio. Mark Timm has been a serial entrepreneur, exponential thinking practitioner for almost 3 decades. Right? He's started more than a dozen companies, several of which have multiplied and been sold. Right? He has spoken professionally for more than 25 years, as you will see, right? Giving thousands of speeches to over millions of people around the globe. Mark's greatest value comes from being a master collaborator who brings people together to accomplish far more than anyone could have imagined. Right? His strategic vision enables you to see future possibilities and strategic positioned assets to help systems to take full advantage of what may be coming next. And today, Mark believes his most important role is a CEO of the most valuable business in the world, his family, his 6 kids, 6 young adults with his wife, right? His wife, Ann. And his own experience of dealing with entrepreneur challenges fueled his passion for helping people balance the demands of the family in business. So as you can see, Mark's got a lot going on, and including being a partner to Kevin Harrington brings a lot of value. And I'm just honored to be able to bring this interview to you and share with you just a little bit of the experience of what we've been able to gain by being in their world. Pay attention, take good notes if you can, rewind this thing, listen to this many times. There's some great insights. And don't think that you've got this part already covered. Pay attention, open up, see what you can learn, and pay real close attention to a very important question that he asked himself. What does this make possible when an opportunity shuts down, when things go sideways? Instead of freaking out about it, it's determining, what does this make possible? right? And see what other nuggets you can gain. So I'm honored to bring to you interview with Mark Timm as we unpack his book that is going gangbusters worldwide, Mentor to Millions. Check it out. We'll see you at the end. All right. So Mark, so glad to have you here. Super excited. As everybody just saw in the intro, this is somebody who's I esteem highly and just, I care tremendously about you. You're a great human in addition to being just a brilliant entrepreneur and somebody who's accomplished a lot. And you wear it well because you are very, very humble in addition to that, which is just a very attractive quality. So I want to share you with our audience so that everybody else can get a chance to see more of what you are about and talk about this amazing, crazy journey that you've been on and called mentorship. So say hello, Mark.
Hey, Jim, thanks for having me here, man. The feeling is mutual. I remember the first time I met you and your wife, and I just, you know how it is. We meet lots of people, right? And it was just one of those things where I'm like, hey, I just think these guys are awesome, and I can't wait to do more with them. And so here we are, full circle, and helping each other to make the most of these crazy times, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, before we dive into some of the mentorship piece, let's talk about these crazy times. I mean, obviously we're in the middle right now as we sit of a year that I don't think anybody could have predicted if you had 100 tries. And what is it unearthed for you? What's been 2020?
Yeah.
What's that been?
I mean, right away, if I go back and look at what was I doing, I advise people to do this on when they're sitting there trying to say, where do I go next? Or what's my next step? I'm like, go back and just remember, just spend a few, minutes. What would a week look like in February of this year? And now what does your week look like? And you just see how different things are. I mean, in the span of 5 days, Jim, I had 13 trips cancel. And it started with one, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, I get that. I understand that. And then literally a phone call an hour later, well, that one's going to be canceled too. And then it started on a Thursday, and by Monday, every single trip that I had planned for all of, the rest of 20 was gone. And so, and then in the process, 2 of my businesses were just over. Like the demand for what we had there, and they were very in-person kind of endeavors. And so the fulfillment of them, the selling of it was just over. And so I think that, what it did though, is it forced me to make some tough decisions. And, I've made the decision, Jim, that I'm not going to start those 2 businesses back up. Like it was necessary for those to end, and maybe they would have gone on much longer than they should have. And so when I've got 6 kids, and every time something bad happens in their life, it's like a broken record now because I've taught them all. But the question I ask is that what does this make possible? And, and what I found is that I started asking myself that question back in March. Wait a minute, what does this make possible? Well, now all of a sudden I'm not traveling anymore. So I can spend more quality time with my family. I can spend more quality time with my wife. I can spend more quality time, with other businesses that are working. And what I found is that it was a forced pivot. A lot of times we pivot in life because we have to, or because we need to, or we want to. This time it was a forced pivot. We all had to pivot. And so, I look back at 2020, and although it has some definitely dark moments where there was some uncertainty and some fear, I look back at 2020 and I just say, thank you for the forced pivot. Because I was forced to do some things that I, didn't want to do. I was forced to exercise because all you had was your own home and property. And so I got into a better version of myself. I was forced to spend more quality time with my family and my wife. And because of that, my relationship is better. And I was forced to pivot into some different businesses that have turned out to be the right pivot that I might have never made.
For sure. Yeah. And, and some words get overused really quickly. And, words like authentic or, even entrepreneur and sales. Pivot got blown up this year. If I never hear the word pivot again, I think I'll be good. But what does this make possible? That's vital. That's not necessarily the words. That's a perspective. Look at every door that closes, a new one, opens another up somewhere. We understand that, but what does this make possible? It's very specific and very tangible. And you guys should all be asking that. Think about that right now for yourself. What is possible for you? And, what's really important is the mindset around that, because if you're in a retreating position where you're circling the wagons, you're not looking for solutions. You're looking for survival. So how do you recommend people navigate that process?
Well, here's the thing. This is what I'm going to tell you. It does lead a little bit into the book that I wrote with Kevin, Mentor to Millions, because I believe that we are human beings, right? And we were not put on this earth to be alone. And so the people who literally did during the pandemic hole up and just be alone, I think they're the ones that are struggling the most versus those of us. I'm not talking about going out and being in physical proximity, but we live in a world where we can be in virtual proximity. I mean, I remember the very first time that my wife and I scheduled a couple time with another couple virtually, and we shared a glass of wine together virtually. And it was weird to think about. But when we did it, we were so thankful that we did it. And so, so we're not supposed to be alone. And so the biggest thing I would say is that who are you spending time with, even if it's virtually? Are you upping your game? One of the things is that it gives you an opportunity to spend time virtually with maybe, a community that ups your game. And what I mean by that is that the famous motivational speaker, who was my mentor, by the way, Zig Ziglar, and this book would not have even existed without Zig. The foreword was written by Tom Ziglar. And the reason why is Zig used to say, you can change who you are, you can change where you are, and you can change what you're doing simply by changing one thing in your life. And that is what you're putting into your mind. If you've got garbage going in, you've got garbage coming out. If you've got good coming in, you've got good coming out. If you've got great coming in, you've got great coming out. So my advice to people right now is, what are you putting in your mind? What are you listening to? What are you watching? You heard all these people saying, oh, I'm binge watching Netflix and all of this stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I started binging on podcasts. I started listening to people that I respect. Books that I hadn't had a chance to read, I started reading. I mean, I started putting this like good stuff in that I hadn't had time to put in. And man, it was changing my life. I mean, it was things I knew, but I just needed that extra kind of content burst in my head. So if you're struggling right now, start putting good things in your mind and watch what happens next, and you'll be surprised what comes out the other side.
Amen to that. So if you're tuning in here, we're talking to Mark Timm, co-author of the book Mentor to Millions, and we're talking about that right now. And we're really diving into why is mentorship so relevant in the world? Why is it needed in your life? Why are you a mentor if you are one? There's a lot packed into that term mentorship. And what led you here to this book, and how did you get to this place? Why is this book being birthed right now?
Yeah, it's so interesting because I need to be transparent with everybody listening, because you need to know we turned the manuscript in before COVID. Okay, so this is not we're writing a book, because we've got the Pythagorean theorem for how to survive quarantine or come out of COVID on the other side. We turned it in, but it's so relevant. Like, we had no idea how relevant this book would be. You see, I already mentioned I had the mentor of Zig Ziglar. Well, my co-author, Kevin Harrington, also had Zig Ziglar as a mentor when he was a young man. So we both had this mentor in our life, this great mentor. But I didn't know Kevin. Kevin didn't know me. But I knew the children of Zig Ziglar. And during, a really critical time in my life, the children of my mentor introduced me to who would become my next mentor, which is Kevin Harrington. And I tell you that story because mentorship works that way. It's an exponential process. If you find the right mentor and you become the right mentor, then what happens is your life starts to exponentially grow. Well, what do I mean by that? Linear is where you add one at a time. Exponential is where you multiply. And when you have the right mentor in your life, you start to multiply the results that you're getting in life, whether it's your relationships, whether it's your family, or whether it's your business. So I'm traveling with Kevin. So you know how that works. We go to events. We're doing a lot of events, and we go there and we finish speaking, and then 1,000 people would come up because he was on Shark Tank, and they would all be like, Kevin, I just need 5 minutes of your time. Can I just ask you one question? If I could just ask you one question, I know it would make a difference to me. We literally had one guy at one event. We had security around Kevin because there was a lot of people at this event. They all wanted access. And he went back through the bowels of the hotel, into the kitchen area, into the servants area, and then somehow popped out where we were at backstage. And he literally rushed Kevin before the security could get there. And he's like, Kevin Harrington, I just have to ask you one question. And through all of those experiences, we figured out it was the same question. Everybody asked the same question. What's the one thing I need to do to be more successful? What's the one thing I need to do in my business? What's the one thing I need to do in my life? One thing. And we sat down and we started really, wrestling with that. We're like, we got to figure this out. And what we figured out is that super successful people who have achieved a lot in life, people who have a lot of personal fulfillment, they all have one thing in common. They all have mentors in their life. They have people that breathe life into them and give them wisdom at critical points in their life. That is their secret success. That's their secret sauce. And so we're like, wait a minute, we fit that mold. We each have had mentors in our life. That's why we are successful. So we have to tell the world about this. We can't keep this a secret any longer. Mentor to Millions, Jim, is not about money. That millions is not about money. That is about impact. The quickest way to impact millions of people on this earth is through mentorship. You have to have the right mentor, then you got to be the right mentor, and you do those two things and you are well on your way to exponentially impacting the world. And so we wrote this book. It's a narrative about a mentor and a mentee's relationship. It's filled with great examples and great lessons about business success, about relationship success, about family success. Every single chapter of this book ends with me talking about how you can apply what we've taught to your family and my own family examples. And so we had to write this book because we want millions of people to know that they can impact the world. If they have a product, a purpose, or a passion that the world needs, the fastest way to get it to the world is through mentorship. And it's time that somebody told that story.
And, I really resonate with the whole millions being about impact, right? Because Zig Ziglar said it best. You want to make the money you want to make, or you want to get the impact you want, you have to help other people get theirs first. And yours becomes a natural byproduct. And both of you are direct mentees living in that lineage. And I have as well. I mean, that's one of the first things I ever remember hearing from any formal trainer 30 years ago when I was just getting into this game. And so you got to be others focused. And right, there's a statistic that I saw that said that we have like 46% of Americans have mentors.
Yep.
Right, which means by simple math, more than half of the people out there do not.
Yep.
And what's the risk? What are they costing themselves by not involving in mentorship?
I think they're costing themselves, they're failing alone. They are, they don't have someone there to pick them up when they fall down. They are taking it the hard way. I mean, they're walking up the mountain going in circles instead of going straight up the mountain. A mentor comes down and grabs you by the hand and helps you up that mountain. They don't let you walk around in circles. Now, they may let you fall here and there because it's natural to fail, but they're going to be there to help you learn the lessons. But I think you are risking taking it the hard way. And what you're really risking is that the world doesn't get what you have to offer. Like, you fall short because, again, we weren't put on this earth to be alone. We're supposed to do this together. And so a mentor helps you understand what it is your unique genius is and helps get that to the world. And I believe everybody was put on this earth for a purpose. And a mentor helps you figure out that purpose and then execute on it. And so, so you can spend your life wandering, being a wandering generality, or you can be something very specific and very powerful. And that's the difference of having a mentor and not having a mentor.
I so resonate with that too, because, most of the listeners, my story, and, I had a really rough, abusive upbringing, being in foster care and on the streets and in jail. And on my 18th birthday, I tried to come back home to finish out my senior year of high school at home because I was trying to pursue a college scholarship while living with a bunch of drug dealers. And my mom said no. Matter of fact, I went out in an email yesterday as we were promoting the book and the interview in this interview. And I stood on the doorstep on my 18th birthday, tears coming down, and physically remember the thoughts of going, wow, I am totally on my own now. And I didn't know you could get help. I didn't know there were people out there who wanted to help. And so I spent the next few years making every single mistake that you could make known to man. By the time I was 25, I was bankrupt twice, I was divorced twice, had all kinds of problems until I finally met my mentor, my first mentor, and started recognizing that other people could speak into your life. So I'm very passionate about it. And so I think you should have a mentor for darn near every area of your life. Where do you see the pitfalls that people make? Is there too much mentorship?
Well, okay, so yes and no. There's a lot wrapped up in that what you just said right there. So, number one, going back to the 54% that don't have mentors, that's we need to fix that, because I believe, Jim, that we're in a time like never before where people are willing to help their common man. Like we're letting go of a lot of what mattered, because these kind of crazy times forced us to, and so we're willing to help. And so if you're part of that 54%, I challenge you, I dare you, I encourage you to raise your hand and say, I'm ready to be helped. If you're a restaurant owner and you're struggling, because it would be tough to be a restaurant owner, reach out to your community, tell them, be honest, be vulnerable. Hey, if for this restaurant to survive, I need help. If you're trying to start a new business and you don't know how, raise your hand and put it out to your social media. I mean, I'll challenge you. If you say, I don't have any mentors in my life, I don't know where to reach, go to your social media channels tonight and say, hey, my name's Mark. I'm trying to start a new business and I need help learning how to start a new business. Can you introduce me to the person who can help me? And you'll have a bunch of people that maybe they aren't the first person that read your message, but they know someone that can help you. And so they're there. It's like the old saying, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. Well, if you're really ready to be mentored, mentors are out there and they will help you. Now, I have to tell you, don't just take the first person that comes along because there is good mentors and there's bad mentors. And I'll give you some of the things to watch out for. Number one, you definitely want a mentor that has failed. Like, don't just ask them about their success, ask them about their failures, because a good mentor has failed in various areas of their life. Jim, you just talked about some areas of failure in your life. I mean, you can uniquely breathe life into certain people that are on certain paths because you've been down those paths and you know what it's like to get it wrong and you know what it's like to get it right. I can only talk about family, and I love talking about family because I got it wrong for a while, right? I got it wrong, and I know what it feels like to get it wrong, and I know what it feels like to get it right. So you want to find a mentor that's had some failures, okay? Because a mentor that hasn't failed only knows one way to do things, and that makes them, that's a very difficult way, to have a mentor, is they only know one way, okay? The second thing is that you want a mentor that knows that God gave him 2 ears and 1 mouth. They listen. They take time to listen, to get to know your situation, your uniqueness, your unique ability in this world, and then help you with their wisdom. And so you need a mentor that will listen to you and that you can really count on, that's going to hear you out there. And then the last thing, and this is kind of it's a tough one, and that is you must choose a mentor that will hold you accountable. You've got to choose a mentor that has enough confidence and courage in their own life to hold you accountable, because that's a lot of times what you need that accountability. And so those are things to look for in a mentor. Things to make sure you look for and don't, to watch out for is obviously, I call it the know, like, and trust formula. A lot of times we pick someone because we know they were successful, but very quickly we learn that we don't really like them. Like, we don't like spending a lot of time with them. So you're not going to come to your next breakfast meeting or your next virtual meeting because you don't like that person. So once you get to know them and you know they're a good mentor for you, make sure that you like them, because you want to spend time with them. You want to be comfortable spending time with them. And then the last thing is trust. And it's probably the most important thing. You want to trust your mentor, because you need to implement. You've got to be their best student. The equation, it works like this. Okay, if you're listening to this and you can see the video side of this, I've got a brick wall behind me. Bricks are strong. We build houses out of them. We build foundations out of them. And mentorship is like a brick wall. The mentor gives you the bricks, and then your job as a mentee is to collect those bricks and form a wall. But anyone can knock over a brick wall unless there's concrete mortar that holds it together. So where's that concrete and mortar come from? That comes from teaching others what you've learned. So if you don't teach others what you've learned, then you don't have a brick wall that you can build on. But if you literally will get the right mentor that has the right bricks, and then you become their best student and you collect the bricks and you form your wall, and then you teach other people, that's what locks it in. That's what makes it strong. That's what builds a foundation that you can build a business on, a family on, a life on.
So what would be some of the mistakes that people make when choosing a mentor? I mean, how do you, we got to make this like kindergarten simple so that people really understand this. Because I know there's people listening right now go, yeah, I know I got it. I got a mentor. But how do you know when you should be accelerating that? How do you know when you get a mentor that's going to really challenge you to step, to exponentially grow and not just have to go incrementally?
I mean, listen, Jim, it's a process. Like you can't, someone comes along and says, yeah, I'll mentor you. Number one thing you do is you've got to commit to being their best student. Okay. If you're not willing to be their best student, it's not going to work out. But you also have to have some self-awareness. Spend some time to get to know them. Like I said, understand what they're about. Don't just go off of the first person that says, I'll mentor you. I mean, really get to know them. Make sure that you know them and you're in alignment with their values and with who they are as a human being. Then, if you like them and you trust them, implement. I mean, the biggest mistake in a mentor-mentee relationship, Jim, is actually the mentee doesn't do what the mentor asks them to do. They're not their best student. The next time they meet, they're like, how'd that work out? And they're like, I didn't really have time to implement it, but give me some more good stuff and I'll implement it next time. Well, the mentor is like, no, I'm done. I don't have time for this. So things to watch out are if the mentor, does all the talking and none of the listening, if the mentor doesn't have failures in their life, okay? If the mentor only knows one way to do it, like they just don't have a lot of ideas. It's their way or the highway, because life just isn't that way. But if you develop that know, like, and trust, you'll be ready to take it to the next level, especially if you implement.
Yeah, and I want to make sure everybody's aware of this too. Again, Mark said something a few minutes back about just post something on social. You would literally get inundated with people. And we live in an age where, the whole 6 degrees of separation, I think is like yesteryear. Now with social media and everything, I think you're one degree of separation from darn near anybody you need to meet in the world. And so if you get really vocal and be intentional, who is it you're looking for? What are you asking for? Know what kind of problems you're trying to solve, and then put these asks out and see what starts coming your way. We've had mentors for everything, even, sports. I coached high school sports. I played college baseball. You can get a trainer for darn near everything. You got a nutritionist, a weight trainer, a running coach, a basketball coach, a shooting coach, a handling. You can have mentors for anything. So there's really never an excuse to not have one. You just got to be clear that you need one and start asking questions. So if I'm in the interview process, if I'm somebody who's never had a mentor, what's the first questions I should be asking myself? Decide what area of life do I go?
54%, you've never had a mentor. You should be asking yourself, hey, do I, is this somebody that's in alignment with me? I mean, are we in alignment with our values of who we are? It would be hard to be in alignment if you've got 6 kids and your mentor has never had kids and never wanted kids and is all about their career, and you're trying to achieve some work-life balance. That could be a little tough. And so, so that's an example of where, yeah, they might have some good things, but here's the deal. You can have mentors for different areas of your life. So if you're in that situation where you don't have alignment in the family situation, make sure that you're getting a mentor that's just mentoring you in the area that they can add value, and which may be in your business, but you have someone else that's mentoring you in your family or your spiritual walk or whatever other area is important to you as well. So just keep that in mind, that sometimes we have to have mentors that are different for different needs in different areas of our life. But if you're a first time out there and you're like, I'm ready to have a mentor, just make sure that you go at it with realistic expectations. You can't show up on their doorstep. You can't stalk them. You can't be overbearing, to them. And you certainly need to be willing to implement what they ask you to do early on in the relationship, so you can see if it's going to work out and they can see that you're serious about being a good student.
What if somebody's had a mentor arrangement that just didn't work out, didn't pan out, and now they've given up on it?
I've had plenty of those. I mean, just I try not to burn any bridges, and I just say, hey, look, I mean, it's been so amazing to get to know you, and I appreciate everything that I've learned from you, and I hope our paths continue to cross, in the future, but it's also okay if you've tapped out, meaning sometimes people are really good students and they catch up to their mentor, and the mentor can no longer push them forward. Now, usually when that happens, your mentor is helping you find your next mentor. Like they're helping you to accelerate. And so, that definitely happens. And so, but yeah, if it doesn't work out, it's okay. Don't burn the bridge and say, man, you really stink as a mentor. You just say, hey, look, I really appreciate our time. I think I'm going to pursue a little different direction here. And I hope our paths continue to cross. It's okay. What's not okay is to pretend that it's a good relationship, because then you'll burn that relationship and you'll both leave, feeling salty about it.
Agreed. Yeah, I think we've all had good and bad. And the other thing that I always encourage people to focus on is, what role did I play? If it wasn't a good mentor-mentee relationship, there's no such thing as a one-way relationship. So what role did I play in contributing to this thing that didn't work out so well? So let me ask you this. What do you really want for this book? What is your intention? As you guys put this out there, you and Kevin have both been very, very successful, had a lot of great things. What do you want this to stand for?
I mean, you're in the business of teaching people how to sell. And so you would probably gulp hard when I tell you that there's no back end of this book. There's no upsell. There's no course. There's no coaching. There's nothing that we are asking people except for one thing, and that is to share this book with others. Kevin and I have been very blessed in our life. This is a legacy moment where we get to share with the world the real deep secret that we learn about mentorship. And our goal is to do exactly what the book says, to be mentor to millions. We would like for 1 million people to have this book. We'd like for 1 million people to read this book, because if they do, and when they do, we'll be positive. When 1 million people read this book, then that percentage you gave, that 54%, it won't be 54% anymore. We want to change that percentage so that more than 50% have mentors, and that they're getting their product, their purpose, their passion out to the world. That's what we really did for this book. That's why we wrote it the way we did. It's not a how-to book. It's not a step-by-step. This is what you do. This is what you do. This is what you do. This is a narrative. This is storytelling at its best, of great stories of failures. There's a lot of failures in here, and some successes, and what we learned along the way of life, what it was like to not have mentors, what it's like to have mentors, and what that relationship can be. And in the end, it starts out with my family and my experience with my family, and it ends with my family, because we believe that the most important group business that you'll ever own, ever operate, is the one you come home to, not the one you go to. And so how cool would it be if you are the mentor to that most valuable business in your life, and that's your family. And so family is a very big, in fact, we, as we're recording this, we just became the #1 parenting book on Amazon. So wow. The #1 book for parenting is actually not how do you discipline your kids in a time of chaos. It is Mentor to Millions. We are the #1 book for parenting right now.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Congratulations. So, here at Peak Performance Network, inside here, we have this thing called a Pay It Forward program. So we kind of run it like Tom's Shoes. And so for every paid membership, we give our clients the opportunity to give a membership away so we can help their people make more sales. And so in that theme, I want to encourage all of you to go. We're going to give you some directions right now to go get the book. Buy one and buy one for somebody else immediately. So pay it forward right from the beginning. Go buy 2 books, one for you, one for your kid, or one for your neighbor, or one for your client, or one for your mother-in-law, whoever needs it, right? Find somebody who can learn the mechanics of being able to get help, give help, seek help. And this is a great way to make that go. So where can they find the book, Kevin?
I really love that. And I'll encourage you, if you're not sure who to give it to, buy one for your mentor. Buy one for somebody that you want to be a mentor. I mean, if you're somebody out there that you want to mentor you, buy this book, send it to them and say, read the book, and then I'll talk to you in a week. And then a week from now, say, how would you like to be the mentor that was in that book to me? And I guarantee you they will say yes. Or buy one for somebody that you're ready to mentor. It's a great way to open up the conversation of mentorship, either to somebody that you need to mentor you or somebody you need to be mentoring. So love that concept, Jim. Love it, love it, love it.
Awesome. So where can they get the book?
Well, first off, you can get it wherever books are sold. I mean, it's live on Amazon right now. I just told you we're the #1 book in parenting. We happen to be the #1 book in entrepreneurship right now. So we're number one in parenting, number one in entrepreneur. So you can go there, but we'll do a little bit better than that. And that is, if you go buy the book, come back to Kevin Mentor. So for Kevin Harrington, my co-author, kevinmentor.com. And if you show us that you bought the book, we'll give you 30 days of mentorship. You just fill out your receipt and show us you bought the book. And then we give you 30 days of mentorship, lessons that we learned in life, in business, in family life, etc. So go get the book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, come back to Kevin Mentor, and we'll be happy to throw in a bunch of fun bonuses, extra stuff. I even put my own ebook, How to Win at Home Like You Win at Work, as a bonus in there as well. So we'd love to have everybody, and I love your challenge of buy one for somebody else. So well done there, Jim.
Definitely. And for those, Kevin is more of a well-known name. Mark Timm maybe isn't. So maybe you would just be getting introduced to him today here, but let me please vouch for the intelligence, the kindness, the wisdom, and what these guys bring to the table. I've had the benefit, we've done some business transactions and some partnerships together, had the privilege of spending a little bit of time with Kevin when he came into Sacramento at a speaking event. And as that's an opportunity right there for basically the cost of a book, 2 books. We're talking less than $100. You can get 30 days of mentorship support from Kevin Harrington and Mark Timm. You're talking about 8-9 figures worth of business and life lessons learned that they can share with you for the cost of 2 books. Go invest right now. Get that done. Please take care of it. Mark, any last words of wisdom for everybody here who's listening, whether they are a mentor or whether they want to seek one?
I just want to reiterate kind of what I said before, which is I just want to challenge everybody listening to go out there and get a mentor in their life, and then be that mentor's best student, and then become a mentor. Because I truly believe that you were put on this earth to do something extraordinary, and to do that, you're going to need help. And the quickest way to make that happen is to have mentors in your life and to be a mentor. And quite frankly, Kevin and I want your exponential impact journey to start right now. So please go get the book. Let us inspire you. Let us help mentor you. And so you can make that difference in the world that you were put here to be.
Amen. All right. There you go, guys. You've heard it. So go right now. Make sure you run, don't walk. Go get your book taken care of. And make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. Check it out. Let us know what's going on. Share this with other people, especially if you've gotten some great value from this here. Let us know what you're thinking, and definitely come back. Let us know how the book is. All right. So I'm really hoping that you got as much out of this as I hope you would. See just the brilliance that Mark brings to the equation, and the reason to go get this book. A super easy yes. Go get one. I want to encourage you, make sure you do the Pay It Forward program. Buy one for you, buy one for somebody else that you want to mentor, or a mentor you're seeking out, or somebody who just needs the ability to some practical wisdom, tools, and insights to be able to master the art of growing yourself and growing somebody else and learning from somebody else. Right? It's something we're not all great at. This is a great book to teach you how to be mentored, as well as some of the key reasons and insights and the journeys of what a mentor can be like. And I look forward to being able to share more with you. So please go get this taken care of. Let us know how it goes. Thanks so much for being part of our world. We'll see you soon.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Make More Sales podcast. If you like what you're hearing, you'll definitely want to check out our Make More Sales Facebook group, where you'll find more amazing content, including free sales training and live content happening every single week. So make sure to follow the link below to join. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show, and share it with your friends. That way, more people can learn how to make more sales without getting better at selling. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.